and today we are here for Sarah Smith's annual IEP review. Joining us, we have Mrs. Pam and Steve Smith, Sarah's parents. We have Mrs. Janice Duper, the school representative and special education director. We have Mrs. Vine, Sarah's general education teacher, and we have myself, Mrs. Monker, the special education teacher. So, to begin, I'm going to pass out everybody an agenda of what we're going to be talking about today, just kind of an outline of how the meeting, what some of the things we're going to talk about. And if you have any questions or comments, please write it down and we can sure discuss them further. Excuse me. We are going to begin by hearing from Mrs. Vine, Sarah's general classroom teacher. She is going to tell us about some of her observations of Sarah and Sarah's behavior and work habits within the classroom and with her working with her peers. So Mrs. Vine is going to say that Sarah is a very kind child. She is quiet and keeps to herself and will speak to anyone that talks with her. She is polite and will answer any questions that she is asked, and she does interact with her peers. Some of her work habits consist that are that she is focused and determined throughout each lesson. She tries very hard to follow along and participate in group discussion. She does not she does not always volunteer to answer questions or read, but she will do it if she is asked by the teacher. And she does get her work done on time, so she's very good about that. She seems to be enjoying the 6th grade. She does have friends. She does know that she struggles with reading and writing, but she is doing her best, and I do notice that she takes her homework home with her or books home with her to do extra studying. Okay, next on our list, we're going to talk about present levels. Currently, right now, Sarah is on an IEP for her reading skills with comprehension, fluency, and written expression. She is below the 6th grade level. And then when it comes to math, especially like math problems, reading problems, she's not below the level, but she is right at the beginning. So we'd like to get her some support that would help bring her above or at grade level. So based on the current state standardized testing, she is in reading, she is below grade level. In writing, she is below grade level. In math, she is she is at basic level, and then at science, she is proficient. So she is doing very well in most areas. We just like to get her some help or some support to help bring her to grade level. Some of the other testing that we do use is progress monitoring. She takes some skills-based testing. This one that I read was the MAPS testing, which is a state testing, and of course what Mrs. Vine and myself have observed with our time with her. Okay, next we are going to discuss her levels and then the goals that we have created in that way we can give an outline of how we would like to help support Sarah. So right now, in her basic reading, we use a scale, and she is at a 65% accuracy. However, a goal that we would like to incorporate is that when given a list of 20 to 25 multiple syllable words, she will decode the words fluently using phonic strategies and syllable division rules, and we'd like to get her up to an 85% accuracy in 3 out of 4 trials. Okay, the next goal we have is for reading fluency. Right now she is at a 65% accuracy, and the goal is that when given an untimed grade level reading passage, Sarah will increase her correct words read per minute from 57 to 80 without sacrificing comprehension. And we'd like to bring her up to an 85% accuracy, 3 out of 4 trials. Okay? So for her reading comprehension, she is at a 50% accuracy, and I feel that's just because her fluency, it takes her a little bit longer to decode her words, and so sometimes reading a full sentence, we make it kind of choppy, so then we can't understand what we just read, which is totally normal uh, with it goes hand in hand with reading fluency and stuff like that. That is why she's at a 50% accuracy right now for comprehension. And the goal we would like is that when given a worksheet with the WH phrases from the Barton reading program, Sarah will identify the phrases in which WH category. So what I mean by WH category is like the who, what, when, where, why. So it helps you understand what a sentence, what the words mean, like who, subject, predicate, all that stuff. So, but she will be able to identify the who, what, when, where category correctly with 80% accuracy 3 out of 4 trials. So we'd like to get her up to an 80% accuracy. All right. And the last goal we'd like to present is that with her written expression, right now she's at a 60% accuracy, and when given a grade level writing prompt, Sarah will write 3 to 4 paragraphs using complex sentences, which means more than just a 3-word sentence. It will have a subject, predicate, and correct capitalization, punctuation, and grammar and spelling with 80% accuracy in 3 out of 4 trials. So that is the goals that we proposed for Sarah. The next on our list, we are going to discuss the services that Sarah is currently using. And if you have any questions or comments about this, please feel free to chime in at any time. Currently, right now, Sarah is on our Barton reading program. This is taught by myself, Mr. Monker, the special education classroom teacher. I pull her 4th period for 50 minutes. There are other kids in that class on the Barton reading program, so it's not individual. She's not just secluded. There are others working on this with the same lessons with her. But she is pulled for 1 period, which is 50 minutes a day, 4 times a week. And again, we go into a different classroom, but there are others, so she is not just one-on-one by herself. And I believe that the Barton reading program has been very successful in helping Sarah progress. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is the LRE statement, or the least restrictive environment statement. Sarah requires flexible instruction at her level, individual assistance, and small group instruction to reinforce concepts being taught. Large group instruction in the classroom does provide Sarah with the opportunity to ask questions and immediate feedback. She does learn best with limited distractions and with material that supports her level of instruction. This is where she is, our goal is to keep Sarah within the general classroom 80 to 100% of the time. So that is what we are striving to get to. Then next on our list, we are going to talk about the extended school year, like summer school. Sarah is eligible for the summer reading program that is offered through the school. And we highly recommend that she does participate in the reading program, and it will be the Barton reading program, because she does so well on it, and she's making such great progression that we do not want her to lapse over the summer, and our goal is to continue to get her to grade level. So we believe that the summer program is going to be very beneficial for her. And if you have any questions or comments about that, please ask away. So then next on our list, on our agenda, we are going to talk about the procedural safeguards, which is this booklet that I have given you before. I just wanted to go over it again with you. This is a great tool to have if you have any questions, especially legal questions. It highlights the safety or the protocols for this IEP and for your student. It talks about the services, the evaluations, reevaluations, like what requirements, the PPWs, it talks about the records, and if you do have any problems or any legal questions you may have, you probably will find it in this book. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. This is a great tool that we use quite frequently. So, the last thing we would like to talk about is the PPW, or the prior written notice. This is the form that we use. What we're going to do is that based on the action that we're proposing is based on Sarah's grades and her progress, and her strengths and needs and the observations. We would like to propose that she continues with the Barton reading program. We believe that is the best for her to get her to grade level. We also propose that she, again, comes to the summer reading program. So those are two things that we would like to see for success for her, or we suggest for success for her. One of the things that we did consider was increasing service minutes. However, she is showing great growth with the services that are being provided through the Barton Reading Program, and she does need to show her independence and skills, or we feel that showing her independence and skills is more important than her having to go even longer with the Barton Reading Program. We believe that the time that she is using right now is significant. We're just down here on the next question, the description of each evaluation procedure, test. The things we use for this is, of course, the parent survey that we send home before the IEP meeting. That way you guys can ask any questions or have any comments about anything that we may discuss on the agenda. Of course, the general education teacher and the SPED teacher, progress monitoring, work samples, grades. Those are all the things that we have used for our information for today. So I guess to end this, the video, to end this IEP, it says, conclude your video by explaining how you would actively listen to and address the needs of families and other stakeholders throughout the meeting. The best way that I would be able to show that to explain this is by actively listening. Of course, I would make eye contact. I would give them time to answer questions, and really involve the parents as much as possible, to address the needs of families or other stakeholders. Again, one thing we do send home before an IEP is a parent survey. That way they kind of can see the verbiage just in case they have questions, because an IEP, like, the wording can be very confusing. If they have any questions or concerns at home, they can write that down. We can have time to prepare any suggestions or strategies. And then, of course, throughout the year, just contact with the family, contact with the parents at all times. If they can do that via text, email, phone calls, however I would like to stay in contact. Another way to address the needs, another thing we do is that we do send out the IEP, the rough draft, or we send the IEP that the student is on before a meeting so they can look it over, and then we do write up a rough draft to make sure that everybody agrees, and then of course then we send it into the state. So other than that, that was my IEP meeting. Thank you.